One game lasted 2 years. The other game had massive layoffs in 2 weeks. One game had a peak count of 264,000 players and considered by its publisher to be a complete flop. The other had a peak count of 97,000 players and flopped within 1 week. One threw ass in your face. The other played and sold like ass. Looks like we got another dead horse here, ladies and gentlemen. And to be fair, one horse is on life support. The other, well, refuses to stay dead after it's been beaten to mush. Yes, we're talking about the live service space again, and don't worry, Marathon fans. All 19,000 of you, you have been spared. For now. I am very sure that there will be more videos talking about the dropping player counts by next week, so if that neon-coated horse has been beaten to death, it sure will be. No. This is about Highguard, which has been revealed to be a massive scam. Not really that shocking. And the First Descendant, deemed a failure by its publisher in recent developer stream, is talking about a complete overhaul of the game's systems. No, this will not be another correlative thesis video, as what I've been said about this live service space has already been said. It's just interesting to watch the sentiment around the live service genre and how this business model keeps breaking under its own weight. Isn't it? Let's Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you are. My name is Makadi90, Arts German and Illustrator. Welcome you to another Peak Gaming commentary video. Hope you all are doing well today, and we got something very interesting that has surfaced this week, and it's surrounding two live service titles. One that we thought was already over and dead, and the other that's struggling to have staying power despite hooking players with some good gunplay and some nice hands on top of it. The first one we're talking about is Highguard, the true Concord successor that was propped up by Jeff Keighley, died within 5 hours of launch, and ultimately lasted 1 month before shutting down completely with the studio that came along with it. It's been brought up in the headlines that apparently a vendor didn't get paid for the work that they were doing to set up that exclusive event. You know, the one that all those paid influencers were flown out just to play Highguard. Guess we didn't have to pay for your spot at the Game Awards. That still means you need to pay the people who you were working with to market your event. On top of that, the large publishing house Nexon has gone to state that their live service multiplayer hero shooter, the First Descendant, was a flop, and now speculations are centered around whether this game is going live service, while the developers are stating that they're in line to do a massive overhaul of the game, one that will solve the issues that just can't be taken care of with one single patch update. No overarching thesis on this video, just thought it would be interesting to put into hopefully a 15-minute video at the very least. Smack that like button, make it jiggle. Smack that subscribe button, make it jiggle. Massive thank you to the CSF Nation for your incredible support. Join the channel for as low as $1 a month. You get access to exclusive art drops that I do every 2 months for my channel members, and now included in the Etsy shop. Link is in the description. It's special Chibi Kepa keychains. Pick one up and take something peek everywhere you go. Now with that out of the way, let's get right into it, shall we? So, Highguard! It came, it saw, it concorded too close to the sun. Listen, there's no need to brush people up on the saga of this game because, well, that'll be the only thing this game will be remotely remembered for. Especially the games media deflection, Jeff Keighley finding out to have the hand of Tencent straight up his... Never mind. And above all else, having a senior technical artist write an entire article on Twitter blaming the gamers for his game failing without taking any accountability, deletes his Twitter, comes back again, plays the victim, only to delete his Twitter again. The downfall of this game was absolute cinema, and once the game shut down, the studio, the website, the LinkedIn was all shortly gone afterwards. Now, some of the key staff at Wildlight Entertainment had returned back to Respawn, but not much word on the other staff after the studio closure. But what has surfaced was a report from a marketing firm that claims that Wildlight Entertainment had not been honoring contracts and paying vendors for their services. Just when you think you heard the last of them, something new pops up that makes the entire Highguard situation look that much worse in hindsight, doesn't it? This report from Smash JT goes along with the confirmed funding by Tencent despite touting being a quote-unquote independent developer. This screenshot was from LinkedIn and Smash JT was the one who reported on this. Go check him out. Breaking! Wildlight Entertainment, now disbanded studio behind the failed Highguard live service game, is being accused of not honoring contracts and paying vendors for connected production companies via replies on LinkedIn. Now, this comment came from Sarah Carey Ramirez over on LinkedIn, owner of Super Good Productions. Wildlight Entertainment had left a bunch of unpaid vendors in their wake following an unsuccessful launch of the game, including my production company, all of who signed up to this project in good faith and under the impression that you would have the funding to honor the financial commitments you made. I'm wondering if Dusty Welch and Chad Grenier, of course those were the heads of Wildlight Entertainment, is going to pay us. We essentially have paid for your press launch event and no one from the company has responded since the day of the launch. Anyone from Wildlight care to comment? And that is the end of that image from it, Sarah Carey Ramirez. Yeah, this one. Dusty Welch and Chad Grenier. If I were y'all, you better be ready because you're looking down the barrel of a very nasty breach of contract and FTC complaint lawsuit. Like, apparently there was even more vendors that Highguard that both Dusty Welch and Chad Grenier basically just ignored at this point, didn't regard to actually honor their contracts and not even paying them for the work that they did to promote, Highguard. And by the way, they put on a major dog and pony show when it came to that whole preview event where a lot of those influencers were flown out to LA, wine and dined, and got a chance to play the game early before anyone else. This whole thing was a complete mess, to say the least, and it just gets more and more entertaining the more news we find out about this. I would not be surprised, I would genuinely not be surprised if there were even more vendors coming out to, say that, hey, Dusty Welch and Chad Grenier, Wildlight Entertainment, they didn't pay us either. Yeah, this is not a good look, but then again, it makes sense because, Tencent, when they found out that this independent studio was found out that Tencent basically cut their funding before the game was announced at the Game Awards. And I'm wondering if Jeff Keighley could have flipped the bill on this one, but then again, I wouldn't be surprised. It's just, the more we hear about this, the more it's less and less surprising how much of a complete scam this game was. And you cannot deny that this game is starting to become a scam. With all of the promotional material that you went for, all that promotion you got from Jeff Keighley, where you could have just denied that, where you could have just shadow dropped it. All that touting of this being an independent studio when it found out that you were funded by Tencent this entire time. Everything screamed a disaster. Every single moment of this game's existence was absolute cinema. And the fact that Dusty Welch and Chad Grenier and a lot of people are basically running with their tails between their legs, I would not be surprised if these two don't even land another job after this because of how much of it a complete disaster it was. Not on the level of Concord, but it is pretty much up there. Pretty much up there. Now, that's not the only one we're talking about, though, because when you look at on the other side of the coin, you look at a game that is desperately trying to stay afloat despite really hooking players in at first and well, at least it lasted longer. At least it didn't, you know, scam people completely or at all. It just didn't have the gumshirt to actually back up the visuals. And of course, the one that I'm going to talk about is the First Descendant. Now, I'm going to be honest. I might have a little bias here because I actually enjoyed the First Descendant during the time that I actually did play the game. I like the gunplay, I enjoyed the movement, and obviously the cherry on top was those very, very appealing aesthetics. However, the loot grinding really did start to feel like a chore, and that was pretty quickly. Everything was ridiculously expensive, especially those ultimate skins, and ultimately, I ended up dropping the game after Haley and Luna were released. I haven't touched this game in an entire year, even though it's still installed on my PlayStation 5. Despite all that, I was happy to see the developers kept updating the game, and they really ramped up the fan service with each new update. You gotta admit, they know how to make a trailer, that's for damn sure, and I've been using it for obvious B-roll in some of my intros and such for P Gaming. And of course, I wouldn't remiss if I did not bring up the legendary Goonergate controversy last year when that clip of Luna shaking her ass with the tagline, "Is this what gamers want?" set the entire social media ablaze. The meltdowns came from though the meltdowns were right front and center, however, they didn't come from the usual suspects. They came from the opposite side of the aisle. Of course, you guys remember, I was very, very vocal about that situation when it happened. Here we are now. Nexon CEO reportedly admitted that the First Descendant did well at launch, but it completely fell off a cliff. The all-time peak was at 264,000 players, and now the 24-hour peak is barely sitting above 42,000, which that is a very, very brutal drop. Even with those low numbers, the remaining player base is still very dedicated, much like Marathon, and from the recent developer live stream, the devs seem to feel the same way. They openly admitted that the game hasn't been delivering what the players want. In the long term, they're laying out a 3-phase roadmap called completing the game. The first phase due out this summer is a massive core overhaul, reworking the game, farming loops, incentives, and basically the overall balance. The second phase will be improving the story, side missions, and new player experience. And the third phase is all about polishing and adding new content like mega dungeons and better intercept battles. I mean, it all sounds good on paper, but here's the problem. The game still doesn't have enough strong long-term content to keep the loop feeling rewarding. New stuff drops and people play all of it for about a day or a week, and then it's, business as usual. Listen, the bottom line, I really, really want this game to succeed. I did enjoy my time with it, but let's be honest. You can't sell a game on ass and titties alone, and you really need that substance to back it up. Stellar Blade proved that. Nier Bayonetta proved that. Hell, y'all did freaking crossovers with Nier Bayonetta. We're still waiting for a Stellar Blade crossover. Guess PUBG beat you to the punch. And a lot of these gooner, big jiggly waifu gacha games prove that too. Like I said in my Code Violet video, you can sell me tits and ass at the door, but you gotta have something strong enough to bat that ass up if you actually make me want to walk through that door. Yeah, that sounded a lot better in my head. Anyway, that's just my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comment section down below. Yeah, I just wanted to cover these two topics, and no real correlative thesis other than what's already been said regarding the live service titles. I don't know, man. I just don't know, but it's going to be very interesting to see this entire space, especially with games like the First Descendant, and see if they can actually mount some kind of comeback before even their little roadmap may not work out as well. And with Highguard, all I can say is the Concordian timeline continues. But anyway, smack that like button, make it jiggle. Smash the subscribe button, make it jiggle. Share your thoughts in the comment section down below. Let's keep a civil and respectful discussion going. As always, you can follow me on Etsy, Newgrounds, Twitter, links in the description. Join the channel if you like. Really appreciate all the incredible support. Let's see if we can get to 4,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I would love to hit that target for once. And I thank you all for watching. I'm Makini90 Arts German Illustrator, and I'll see you all next time for another video. So until then, stay cute, stay sexy, have fun, take care, much love. Never apologize for wanting attractive women in your media, especially in video games. Because tits and ass can get players in the door, but only good gameplay and strong content keeps them inside. And maybe don't get in bed with Tencent while stiffing your vendors you hired to promote your live service slop. Just a thought. And above all else, never stop drawing.
Please share your thoughts in the comment section down below. Press the like button and press the subscribe button if you wish to see more content from Makini, and join us every Saturday night at 6 p.m. as we venture into the world of peak gaming. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, game over.